Hey, what's up guys, Andy here, and today we are finally getting to do the review over Fairy Tail episode 310 titled Pleasure and Pain. Now, this episode was kind of a little bit of a reset in the beginning to kind of like catch us up to speed on what happened last episode and kind of get us in the mood for what's about to happen. After that though, a lot of stuff happened, and I specifically remember reading what happened in this episode in the manga. And, yeah, it got weird for a little while, because I kind of knew what was happening. So, without further delay, though, I just want to say I'm sorry this is late. If you watched the Demon Slayer video, time restrictions due to Katarina and Alex's wedding, or White Boy Toast as you know him. But yeah, I don't really know where to begin with this episode. It was odd throughout, but we'll make do, because there were a lot of big things that got announced, and I specifically remember this chapter, so to speak, because of the big drop that happened. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the video if you all do end up enjoying it, and let's go ahead and jump in.
They say you don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here. And no, I don't wanna be alone in the world out there.
So we start the episode off with a nice little recap of the two fists hitting Erza and her crying, and honestly this was an amazing scene. I'm glad they recapped this part. We jump into our intro here. Nothing really too major, but we go right back into the punches. And we look at Natsu, and we have a flashback of him fighting Jalal, where he's like, she was crying, and she should never be acting weak, you know, she's tough and fierce. And then we cut over to Gray, who remembers him, like, trying to fight her and her crying, and, you know, the whole thing with her being in Fairy Tail. So it was two very well-placed flashbacks, in my opinion, and I really did enjoy it. But we cut into the title card here, Pleasure and Pain. When I seen the title card, or the title of the episode in general when I was watching it on Crunchyroll, yeah, I kind of knew where it was going, but we get this cute little scene here, and she says, think back to when we grew up together. Is that a friend in front of you, or is that a foe? Is that an enemy? And then, like, the tear just drops, and it sprinkles the image. It was beautiful, and she's like, listen to me. And they get into talking, and, you know, she's telling them, like, you know, if you all fight for respect, that's one thing, but if you're fighting with hatred, that's another, and, you know, that's what a guild's about, you know, and they remember Makarov. And at that moment, Gray looks back, and Juvia comes running up, and he sees her, and he's like, Juvia, and then he passes out in her arms, and it's kind of what I thought was going to happen here, because we cut over immediately to Lucy grabbing Natsu, and she's like, don't worry me like that, and he's like, Lucy, and then passes out. So, yeah, they're both not completely unconscious here. So, yeah, we move over to Crime Sorcière fighting August, which they got their ass beat, spoiler alert. I think everyone could have seen that coming, but I do think Jalal's gonna come back in a big way here. But, maybe. This dude's tough. But, Cobra goes in to attack him, and I love this, and Cobra's like, I can still hear your movements, and he's like, likewise, I can still hear yours. Because he knows all these magics, and then they're all throwing magics, and he's like, oh, too slow. Oh, I know that one too. And then out of nowhere, as we cut back over immediately to the other gang, and they're walking, and out of nowhere, Erza's like, get down, and they all like kind of take cover, and boom, explosion. The meeting I've been wanting to see here. Erza and Irene meet up, and she says, it's been quite a while, Erza, and they're like, do you know her? And Erza's like, no, and she's like, Erza, you are me, and I'm you. And I was just like, oh, they're about to drop it. And then we get here to, Rogue and Minerva, who won their fight against Bloodman and Wall. So, they kind of won. They knew they were, not alive, and the caster got defeated. Then we cut to Larcade. Oh my god, this dude. Okay, so, Larcade says, we lost a lot of soldiers, time to repay the debt. Serana and, Yukino, is that her name? I don't remember. But, they're sitting there and the whole place just gets covered in this, and all adults, pretty much everyone who had, pleasure, so to speak, before, gets affected by this, where they get pleasured to death. And, she's even like, Larcade's spell hasn't affected a single one of these ones I'm fighting, but it's affecting me. And then we cut over to my boy Zareth here, and I was like, Jesus, fuck, it's got Zareth too. That's how strong this spell is. And he's just like, Larcade, stop. And he's like, you're hurting your allies too. And Larcade's like, oh, okay. And then he stops, and then he's like, now you two will know pleasure and pain. And he wraps up, Yukino, and Yukino, why does that not sound right? Yukio? I don't know. It wraps her up and pretty much giving her pleasure, and that's when he tells her, Zareth is my father and Natsu is my uncle. So that's really cool, but we cut over to August here, who has some ominous words. He's talking about Zareth's child, and he's like, the path of good and evil. He wanted to walk a good path or something like that, but evil, the shadows are always there. And you kind of see him, so it was really cool. But in to save the day comes Kagura, and she cuts this fucking mountain in half, and she's like, get down here. I'm done playing with you. And then he wraps her up in his magic as well, and she's starting to feel pleasure, but she bit her own tongue to give herself enough pain to snap out of it, which is really cool. I really did enjoy this scene a lot, but it didn't really matter in the long run, because unlike the other 12, Larcade, August, and Irene are on a different level, and she gets cut down and he blocks her sword with 2 fingers. So, okay. But August goes back to talk, and he's like, there's only one person who can stop Larcade, or, he doesn't say Larcade. He says the only person who can stop Zareth's son is his mother. And then we cut to the end scene. So, I'm not gonna spoil anything, because I already know a little bit of this, but make your own inferences. Just don't leave any spoilers in the comments for people who don't know. But yeah, I overall loved the ending half of this episode. The first half was really nice, but I could see where you would be upset with it, because it is just more flashback. But I think Jalal's gonna come back in a big way. I don't think Kagura is completely dead yet. Maybe. Maybe. We'll have to see about that. But, really cool episode overall. But yeah, that's my take. This video's already way longer than it should have been, because I was kind of fangirling out about Larcade. But, yeah, I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear, driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere, I swear.